will say this, a lot of the cages you'll see inside gyms are usually smaller. Most gyms don't have an authentic, like, UFC giant cage, so this might make some of the fighters feel a little bit more comfortable, like they're training back at home, what they're used to.
Absolutely. But as I said, anytime you have a cage this small, it builds for a action-packed night. The guys just can't get away from each other, so they're going to be wrestling, they're going to be punching. It is going to be a scrum from the start to finish for most of these fights.
Kenny Harden with an interesting walkout song. Beautiful. Some people really like that classical music to get them in the mood for violence. Kenny Harden, 26 years old. He stands 5'11", making his debut out of Georgia Pro MMA, taking on Jankar Arak, who is 1-1, the elder at 34 years of age.
Every time I see Jankar, he reminds me of Houston Alexander from back in the day, knocking out Keith Jardine with vicious uppercuts. Let's see if Jankar has that kind of power tonight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first fight of the evening is an amateur mixed martial arts contest. 3 3-minute rounds in the NFC lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, this 34-year-old stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 157 pounds, sporting a record of 1 victory, 1 defeat. Representing ATT Team Lima, fighting out of Atlanta, Georgia, Jankar Arak. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This fighter is making his NFC debut tonight. This 26-year-old stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 154.3 pounds. Fighting out of Oakland, California, representing Georgia Pro MMA, Kenny Harden.
Fight number 1 underway, Arak and Harden. Here we go. Lawson, I am anxious to see how these fighters tonight respond to the baby cage.
Both these guys are about 5'11", but in this cage, they look gigantic. As I said already, these guys are toe-to-toe in the center already.
I tried to sweep him with that.
Jankar clinching up as Kenny presses forward into the cage. And as I said, 2 steps and you're on the cage for some of these guys. Oh, Kenny hits the headlock. Possibly a bad decision considering that ATT Lima has some great jiu-jitsu, but he scrambles away as Jankar tries to take the back. Jankar with a front headlock, controlling very tight, good hard sprawl, keeping him low. Kenny is trying to pull in that single, but he can't get that base hand around. He's got to really drive it deep or maybe sit through the guard. Who knows? Jankar now sitting, trying for a rice bag roll, but no, that doesn't quite work. He looks like he's trying for a guillotine now, but I can't quite see if he has any kind of grip.
Lawson, for fans who may be a little bit newer to amateur mixed martial arts, what are the rule sets here when they're on the ground grappling?
Exactly that. They are just grappling when they hit the ground. The only strikes are allowed to the body. No strikes to the head, certainly no elbows. You will see the occasional knee to the body on the ground, which is one of my favorites. But, as I said, no punches to the head, no strikes to the head on the ground. So it does alter the grappling game, or the ground game quite a bit from your normal MMA fight. Jankar looking for a bit of a Kimura as Kenny drives him over. He takes him over with it that time. It looks like he's got that solid grip. He might step around and finish with the armbar here. It looks like he's trying to pull it out and just finish with a straight-up Kimura, though. Kenny is trying to walk the fence, get out, trying to do something because he is in a very bad spot. And Jankar looks like he's got a very strong grip on that. Trying to roll through to the armbar here, putting himself underneath, which is risky, but much less risky, as we said, with the current rule set in amateur MMA.
See some good patience and composure here. A lot of times, especially with newer amateur fighters, everything is such a mad scramble.
Kenny's got to be careful trying to pull out of that there.
Less than 30 seconds here in round number 1. As Harden continues to try and get his arm free, and as Lawson just said, he needs to be careful he doesn't get his elbow caught.
John Carr looking for like a modified flower sweep there. Didn't seem to be able to get enough leverage though.
And here's where you'd like to be able to throw some blows to the head.
Most certainly, but there's no point in being able to throw punches to the head if you have no idea how to control somebody on the ground.
Round number 1 in the books. Some good grappling displayed, especially from John Carr.
Definitely, we saw the 2 different game plans in action here, where John Carr obviously wants to make this a grappling match.
Now we're immediately seeing something here, Lawson, a little bit of...
John Carr is yelling about something. I'm trying to figure out what he's yelling about. He seemed like he was directing something towards his opponent. I'm not sure if he's saying he's greased or what, or if... I didn't see any illicit behavior on either part there. But
you are correct, though, because the referee immediately went over and is now wiping his hands along his shoulders, seeing if he's got any kind of grease or slippery substance. Greasing old school, a lot of times grapplers will do that to make it harder to maintain grips. Famously, the GSP, Grease St. Pierre scandal of the 2000s.
Indeed. He always did have an awful lot of Vaseline on his face.
He was very shiny. Round number 2. Let's see how Kenny Harden adapts to the grappling stills with John Carr.
John Carr seems to be breathing a little bit heavier than Kenny, but we'll see. Ooh, trading jabs right there. They are toe-to-toe in the center of the cage here.
Speaking of George St. Pierre, you'll notice John Carr, very similar to the way he... Wow.
John Carr throwing some heavy blows. I think he's a little upset about the whole possibly greasing thing.
Notice the way he leans back. That reminds me of George St. Pierre. He leans that posture back, which makes his strikes deceptively closer than they really are.
Yes. Big double leg, but way too far away. Way too far away there, but he is in deep now. He's driving, trying to bowl Kenny over. Blowing a lot of energy here, but he is putting a lot of effort into finishing it. It looks like Kenny has kind of got a guillotine grip here, but it doesn't look like he's got anything very viable in terms of submission. He's doing a great job keeping his feet, though. It is well worth it to note right here that the cage is your friend in terms of takedown defense. It will keep you on your feet. Jose Aldo famously would sprawl super hard and almost sprawl so hard he would put his feet on the fence to stop shots. So, I always tell people the cage is your friend. If it's not your friend, they're going to use it against you.
And while he may not have had a grip for a guillotine loss, and what he's doing is making John Carr wear all of his weight. That's like the 5th takedown attempt here that's been thwarted, and as you pointed out, that is absolutely exhausting.
I would even venture to say that the most exhausting thing you can do in an MMA fight is attempt takedowns. Oh, Kenny looks like he's getting under the chin of John Carr, and he is delivering some hard knees here.
Going to need to be careful. That position also very conducive to knees to the groin. Whoa, fires off the break, and he stuns John Carr.
Big shot there. Big cross hook. John Carr looked wobbly as heck for a second there.
Good counter right as well. Good instincts by Kenny Harden to not rush in for the finish and get caught with that right hand.
Kenny is now looking a little tired as he just hit John Carr with some serious shots, and John Carr is just giving him a look right back.
Since you made the comparison, I can't stop seeing Houston Alexander now. He's even built like him.
He is built like him. That's really what I saw. Is his build, his square build.
He is a shorter. He looks like he could be his little brother.
I'm not saying this or that, but both were very stiff fighters. John Carr's been stiff in there.
Newer fans are like, who the hell are they talking about right now? You're talking like 2008 UFC.
Google Houston Alexander, some of the heaviest hands.
He's still bare knuckle fighting.
Oh, nuts to that. I wouldn't want to get hit by that guy.
5 seconds left here in round number 1.
John Carr on the bottom here.
A good rebound round for Harden.
Great rebound round for Harden. Definitely a much better round than the first round. Having said that, though, I would definitely give Harden the advantage right now if we're going into the final round here on the judges' card.
It started with his great takedown defense, but what really swayed that second round was when they came off of the break, he fired that hook, something I'm constantly getting on to the younger guys about. It's usually a free shot, and the minute they disengaged, he popped that hook, and it really stunned John Carr and completely shifted the momentum of that round.
Absolutely. I mean, so many professional boxers made careers off of hitting people on the break because that was the best time to nail somebody is when they're coming out of the clinch or out of the hug situation. Starting round 3 now. Both our participants definitely breathing a little bit heavier, but they look ready to go. Daggers in their eyes, folks. Daggers in their eyes. Ooh, Kenny with the first jab. John Carr looking to throw some big looping swings back, but Kenny is nowhere to be found. Front kick by Kenny.
And when you're tired, Lawson, that's about the worst you can get hit with was that snappy teep kick to the belly.
Absolutely. It'll make you question all your choices that ended up with you getting in there.
We not long ago, maybe 2 cards ago, Lawson, we saw a TKO off a teep kick.
We absolutely did. I thought that gentleman had a broken rib.
Action right in front of us here. Full mount for Kenny Harden. Now, what are you trying to do here, Lawson? You're up against the cage. You can't strike to the face. What are you looking to do in mount?
I'm doing exactly what Kenny's doing. I'm staying tight. I'm keeping him compressed, and I'm just peppering his body with shots and scoring points. Mount is not my ideal position for striking or control, for that matter, in MMA. It is a great finishing position, but in terms of holding somebody down, especially if they still have some gas, it can be a little problematic. As I've heard many jiu-jitsu coaches say, if you want to play mount, you better play guard as well. John Carr, once again, though, he seems like his gas tank has run out because he is not able to really get his hips in motion to get any distance between him and Kenny. Kenny looks like he's trying to finish this head and arm right here.
John Carr tough against the cage.
You can definitely still finish that, though, while in half guard. Is one of my favorite positions to finish a head and arm in. A lot of people think they're safe, but certainly not. If you can get that arm in, get that head tight, you can certainly finish somebody while still in half guard, or mount for that matter, with that head and arm.
Now what Harden is here is he is winning this round handily. Few positions more dominant on the scoreboards than mount.
For sure. And control time is so important in amateur MMA. The rounds are shorter, and since striking is not as big a factor on the ground, control becomes so much more important.
He did not move that whole round after he got him on the ground. He did not come on top at all.
Get your elbows inside.
30 seconds remaining here in the final frame of this fight.
Short time here.
Big body shots by Harden.
A little bit of that forearm on the throat action. If you're gonna roll to your side, you gotta shrimp right back and get those legs out. Otherwise, it'll just turn you over and take your back.
Fight number 1 is in the books. And fans, let's gotta apologize for going a little mute there. It can put us in a difficult situation when the fighters are right in front of us like that. You don't want to say anything that's gonna potentially sway the outcome. All of a sudden you start barking out common defenses, and the guy on bottom's like, "Hey, thanks." Because you would never do that. Not with one of your own teammates, Lawson.
I plead the fifth, Jim. Plead the fifth.
Good first appearance by Kenny Harden. good debut. You know, we talk about it on every broadcast, Austin. It's that first fight is just, you don't know what you're going to get. So many guys will look amazing in the build-up, and then you get in there, and it's a very different feel. You got all the lights on you. Your family and friends are out there. The expectations make you nervous. Kenny Harden, very loose in there.
Very loose, great striking, great control. He showed an extremely well-rounded skill set out there. I think we're going to see a lot from Kenny in the future.
As we're getting the judges' scorecards, you see Reese Watkins, a fantastic Muay Thai and MMA middleweight, who I cannot wait for his fight with Lewis Brewington in April.
Score this contest 29-28 for your winner by unanimous decision, Kenny Harden.
And Kenny Harden takes it. The control definitely swayed the judges on that one. Big ups to John Carr, though. He fought every step of the way. He even connected a couple times, shook Kenny up. He had that great armbar attempt in the first round, and I'm sure we will see him again.
Oh, you know, you can make this.